Former Wallabies captain Stirling Mortlock has blasted the Australian Rugby Union, ARU, for its handling of the process that will see one Super Rugby franchise booted out of the competition. On Monday, the ARU said it would make a decision in 48-72 hours on whether the Western Force or Melbourne Rebels would be axed. The governing body backtracked on Tuesday after the Force took legal action, saying it will now delay its decision. That means, given the Easter long weekend, the two clubs will likely have to wait until at least Tuesday to learn their fate. Mortlock, who played 80 tests for the Wallabies, slammed officials for drawing the process out for far too long. "Extremely disappointing, not just what's happening but the way it's going down as well," Mortlock said on RSN radio. "In particular, the length of time this has been drawn out is pretty much a disgrace for all the players, coaching staff, supporters, sponsors, everyone involved with these clubs. It's really frustrating for me to see. As a past player, I didn't go overseas, I put everything into Australian rugby. To see it handled so badly is just really, really disappointing." Both captains have come out and said the time this has taken has really been a distraction. "It's been really difficult for everyone to deal with." While contracted players will be allowed to see out their deals at clubs of their choice, there are about 30 without contracts beyond 2017 whose careers are up in the air. The ARU has asked clubs not to negotiate new deals with non-Wallabies while the competition's future is undecided. The NSW Waratahs and Queensland Reds were always going to be safe from the chopping block, but the Brumbies, Australia's most successful club with 2 Super Rugby titles, were in the firing line until recently. Mortlock represented the Brumbies for more than a decade and says it's astonishing the club was ever under threat. "Even more disappointing from my perspective is my other club who I played for 13 years, the Brumbies, who are the most successful club in Super Rugby history among the Australian teams, was up with its head on the chopping block until a week or so ago. It's pretty disappointing," Mortlock said. The 39-year-old moved further south and was the Rebels' inaugural captain when the club debuted in 2011. He's adamant although the team's performances haven't been as positive as hoped, the club is yet to make the finals. Support for rugby in the Victorian capital is very much alive. "For suddenly rugby to not be on the landscape in Melbourne is a big no-no in my mind for rugby, full stop. I hope that weighs in significantly," he said. "When I first got to Melbourne I was surprised with the amount of staunch rugby supporters and the quality of the local game there. There have been a lot of signs that rugby in Melbourne is on the way up." Rugby Union Players Association Chief Executive Ross Zenos agreed with Mortlock, saying the drawn-out process of cutting a team has hurt the players. "We've obviously seen some legal action and both teams fighting hard for their futures, and that's understandable, but from a player perspective that is taking a bit of a cost in terms of our players remaining in limbo," Zenos told Fox Sports. "They're being patient, but at some point that patience is going to be tested. We know the last few months have put enormous stress on the well-being of players." Zenos said the current uncertainty had made overseas rugby more attractive for Australian players and could contribute to a further exodus to European clubs. "We'd like to see Australian rugby put forward a proposition that playing rugby here is the best experience in the world," he said. "At the moment uncertainty doesn't provide a platform for that experience to compete with Europe, and that's why we'd like to see a resolution sooner rather than later."